What's going on, everybody? Matt's Geek Corner here again with some more gaming news for you guys. So, many of you may have heard already that the Resident Evil 4 remake is supposedly happening and releasing in 2022. And you may have a few questions, and I have some answers for you. So, the first question being, why is Resident Evil 4 getting remade over Resident Evil Code Veronica? The answer to that is in two answers, actually. One, because Capcom has said they have no interest in remaking Code Veronica right now, and I'm not saying that they won't remake it eventually, but just right now they have no interest in remaking that. And same with Dino Crisis, they have no interest in revisiting that series. As much as I would love for them to revisit it, they just have no interest for it right now. And then the second question that you probably have is, again, why 4? Well, that goes into Resident Evil 8. And Resident Evil 8, or Village as they're calling it, makes sense because that game is supposed to come out in 2021. Resident Evil 4 is supposed to come out in 2022. So when you really think about it, they have the assets right there in 8 that they can just take them, copy and paste, put them over there in Resident Evil 4. So it works out that way, and that's probably why they're looking into remaking 4 instead of Code Veronica, because they wouldn't have to build a game from the ground up and when they already have stuff over here that they can use over there. So the only thing they'd have to do really is, if 8 is in first person, they just need to swap it into third person for 4. But that's pretty much, what everybody's been wondering is why that instead of Code Veronica, and that's pretty much the answer that I've been seeing everywhere. Now, let's get into what I hope to see in the remake. So one of the first things that I'm hoping for, and this is just because I find the character annoying, is better AI with Ashley, or just get rid of her altogether. But I know that because she's part of the story, they can't. But make her a little more active in fighting back instead of just sitting there and cowering and screaming in a corner. I got so sick of hearing her, help, 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 Leon, and getting captured by the villagers. Sometimes she'd get captured and I'd just be like, okay, bye, see you later. But I want her to be able to fight back, because the times when you did play as her, throwing a lantern didn't really do much. It just lit the dudes on fire, and sometimes it didn't even kill them, and you had to just run away. Let her fight back. Either let her use a gun, or let her grab objects from the environment and use those against the villagers and the enemies and everything else. Now, I don't expect her to be fighting back against like regenerators or the giants or anything like that, but like the weaker villagers, allow her to fight back those guys. Please just give us better Ashley AI. That's the one thing I'm asking for. She's almost as bad as Sheva, except she doesn't use your health when you're running low. Another thing that I hope for is, I want the enemies, like the villagers, Sadler, Chainsaw Guy, Krauser, Salazar, big dude with the beard, I forget his name. I want all of them, all of their boss fights to be as disgusting and grotesque and amazing as possible, because those were some of the best boss fights in the game. And seeing them in the RE engine just makes it even more awesome, because you saw how William Birkin looked and how Jack Baker looked in Resident Evil 7, even Nemesis, how he looked near the end of Resident Evil 3. Those bosses were disgusting, but they were awesome at the same time. I was legit terrified of fighting them. So that's one thing I want to see with the characters. And even give us like a stalker character. Maybe make the Chainsaw Guy a stalker character similar to Nemesis or Mr. X. Or heck, bring back the Hookman that we saw in early trailers of Resident Evil 4. I know that they scrapped that idea, but they're talking about having a witch in Resident Evil 8 supposedly being a stalker character. Why not just take that concept and copy it over to Resident Evil 4 and give us new enemies, new monsters, new characters to chase after us? Because they did that in Resident Evil Remake. They had Lisa chasing you around. She wasn't in the original. They had new areas that weren't in the original. They even had that mode called One Dangerous Zombie, where Forrest was a zombie with grenades strapped to his chest or all around him, and if you shot him, he blew up and that was the end of the game. So give us something like that. That's what I want to see. I did enjoy Resident Evil 4, but it lacked that, you know, enemy chasing you throughout the game feel. Now, I know Code Veronica didn't have one either, but they really should have had one in there. I guess you could say the Bandersnatchers were that character and the Hunters, but they didn't always show up, you know, randomly. They only showed up in certain rooms. One other thing that I'm pretty certain is going to happen is the controls are going to be much better, because in the old one, while it was fun to play, it was very, very hard to control, and it still felt very much tank control-ish. I know they say it was modern controls, but it really wasn't. When you think back to it, other games that had come out that year too, or the year before that, like Kill Switch, Splinter Cell, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, they all had options where you could move and shoot at the same time, and it was just a control setup. And Kill Switch, I want to say, was the inspiration for Resident Evil 4, because it had that over-the-shoulder setup as well as a covering mechanic, and when you played Resident Evil 4, it had those same control setups and everything. So I'm certain they had the ability to make you move and shoot in that game. They just didn't program it, I guess, or they couldn't figure out a way to make it work. So having the ability to move and shoot in this game would definitely make Mercenaries a lot better to me, because that mode was difficult. And that's the next thing I want to talk about. Bring back Mercenaries, because they took it out of Resident Evil 3 Remake, and I'm hoping that they still someday bring it back as a, you know, free DLC or something. But I really enjoyed Mercenaries mode in 4, even though it frustrated the heck out of me. And there'd be times where I was just pinned in a corner and villagers coming in left and right, and I'm just having to hit them with shotgun shells as fast and quickly as possible without getting my head cut off by the chainsaw dudes, or chainsaw ladies, I'm sorry, because that was the first level that gave me the most trouble. But bring that back. Bring back the Ada mini games. Heck, give us a mini game with Wesker and show us what he was up to during Resident Evil 4, because we know that he was working with Ada, so why not give us a mini game showing what he's up to? I mean, sure, he's probably just sitting in a chair the whole time, but give us something. And I would say give us a Claire story, but we kind of know what happened with her during the events of the first CGI movie, so we know what was going on with her, kind of. But I wouldn't even be opposed to them bringing back Mercenaries 3D. A form of Mercenaries 3D from the 3DS, and just having all the Resident Evil characters that have been in the game so far. Heck, even bring back Billy Cohen or Rebecca Chambers in the bonus mode like they did with Mercenaries 3D. So you could give us all of those characters to play as, similar to how they did it in Resident Evil 5, where they also had all the characters just everywhere. I would not be against that. So that's pretty much my 2 cents and my thoughts on the rumors and leaks. So do I think the game needs to be remade? Not really, because it's still readily available to everybody. It came out on the GameCube in 2005, came out on the PS2 later that year, and then it's been on every system ever since then. So the Wii, PS3, 360, PS4, Xbox One. Heck, it's even on iPhones and Androids, and probably on your smart refrigerator in your kitchen. So part of me doesn't want to remake, but part of me does want to remake, just because of how gorgeous it would look. And really, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that this game should be remade, or do you think the ports are good enough right now as we have it, and they shouldn't even bother remaking the game? Let me know down in the comments below what you think. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring that bell to be notified of when new videos go live. Share it with your friends and family. And as always, I will see you guys in the next episode. Y'all take it easy.